appreciate that beauty in that heart, the way in which they are able to allow the expressions of devotion to Allah because it's in the name of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Did he not truly understand Allah to that extent that he said that no, anyone who wants to devote himself to Allah should be allowed to devote themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This brings us to the point that we want to discuss today. Yesterday we said we need to be truthful, inner truth. Inner truth allows us to recognize the barriers and the boundaries. And Tawbah allows us to burst forth, both intellectual and within the heart. Today we spoke that we need to be kind to ourselves, that when we do make mistakes, we need to forgive ourselves and let go. We need to forgive ourselves and let go so we move on the path once again. Today we are going to talk about the principle of all principles, the principle of sincerity. The Prophet of Islam has said, "Halak al-alimun, halak al-abidun illa al-alimun." The worshippers have perished or destroyed except the scholars amongst them. Then he said, "Halak al-alimun illa al-mu'minun," that the scholars have perished save the believers amongst them. Then he said, "Halak al-mu'minun illa al-muttaqun," that the believers have perished save the God-fearing and the pious amongst them. Then he said, "Halak al-muttaqun illa al-khashi'un," that the God-fearing have perished save those who tremble in the awe of Allah. Then he said, "Halak al-khashi'un illa al-muqinun," that those who tremble in the awe of Allah have perished save those who enjoy a state of surety in their hearts. Then he said, "Halak al-muqinun illa al-mukhlisun," that those who possess surety have all perished save those who are sincere in the way of Allah. This sincerity is a final principle for the effacement of the I or the other God or the sharik of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. The meaning of sincerity is to remove everything that is foreign to an object from itself. And therefore our masters say that if the intention within the journey of life is to attain paradise, then this is shirk in its entirety. If the intention is to flee from the pits of hell, then this is a mushrik worshipping Allah and leading a life. If the intention is to gain closeness to Allah, then this is the shirk in the name of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. If there is any intention of anything, it is nothing less than shirk. So what is ikhlas therefore? What is khulus therefore? It is that absolute state of removal of anything that is foreign and anything that is alien within the self, and arriving at the threshold of Allah in a state of nothingness. Salawat. It is arrival at the threshold of Allah in a state of absolute nothingness. Here it is that we can use this principle to interrogate within ourselves and ask ourselves that are we at that principle of sincerity. Look at the great Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi, in which when he introduces Allah, he says, the peak of Tawheed is this and this and this and this. And when he traverses all the intellectual parameters and bursts forth, he says, Kamalu Tawheed Ikhlas Bihi. That the peak of unity is sincerity with Allah. And what is the meaning of sincerity? We ask him, O Commander of the Faithful, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, deny him every attribute, for he is beyond it all. If you say he is Alim, he is beyond Alim. If you say he is Qadir, he is beyond Qudra. If you say he is Rahman, he is beyond Rahma. Everything that you may attribute to him, deny it all, for this is not Ikhlas. Ikhlas means an untarnished state of existence. So at the level of your minds. Understand what Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is. And then the way in which He describes, my goodness, He says Allah is with everything, yet He does not touch anything. And He is other than everything, and yet there is no distance between Him and anything. What is He trying to say? My goodness. He said, in your mind, when you understand Allah, know that He is the all-embracing reality that cannot be captured at all, for it requires denial of all. But at the inner level, when we apply the principle of khulus, at the inner level, it is truly a liberating principle. And it is one that is born from the yearning and the core of the human conscience. Anything that limits the self, anything that limits Allah, anything that produces a limited outlook is less than befitting. So yesterday, when we were challenging certain ideas and the fright that was incurred by the people, that stage in itself shows that this is a limitation. We need to break it from within. It is an inner insecurity. It is an inner state of fear. It needs to be broken. Khulus means to break forth from all limitations, from all boundaries, from everything that is alien to the self. Look at Ibrahim and his state of khulus. And we hear this in the description of Ibrahim, that when Namrud sentenced him to be burnt alive, they dug a hole and they filled it with firewood and they set it ablaze. It is said that the birds flying on top of that raging inferno would be roasted, burnt alive in midair, in flight, and fall within that pit. Now two things occur here, and I'm sure you've heard of these examples, but two things occur here. One is that there was a little frog. It was taking some water from a nearby spring, hopping to a distance close enough for its own safety and spitting the drop of water within the pits of hell. And an angel, astonished at this behavior, descended, and it asked the frog, "What is it that you do?" The frog stated, "I am trying to put out the fire." The angel, baffled, and it said, "Do you think spitting a drop of water will put out such a fire?" The frog replied, it said, "It is my duty to save the Khalil of Allah. In my capacity, whether he is saved or not is Allah's discretion and choice. I am only doing my duty." When it comes to that level of khulus, the attitude is, I am only doing what I am dictated to do. The rest is with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And look at the other point of khulus that we see here, and that is truly the most marvelous point of khulus. That when Ibrahim is catapulted within the pits of Namrud, as he is descending, Jibreel appears within an instant, and he states, "O friend of Allah, allow me to save you." Ibrahim says, "Jibreel, have you come of your own accord, or has Allah sent you?" Jibreel responds, "I have come of my own accord." He said, "Jibreel, I have no cause with you. Go away." Jibreel, notwithstanding the scene, he states, "O friend of Allah, allow me to take your supplication to Allah. Ask from Allah. If your pride will not allow you to ask me, then ask of Allah." At that point, Ibrahim responded, "Ya'arifu hali wa yughni an su'ali."